While the Department of Wildlife Conservation seems to have over-understood the root problem of the human-elephant conflict, the only remedy they have taken so far is the erection of electric fences. Electric fences are not the biggest challenge for elephants who suffer terribly with the lack of food and water. The Department of Wildlife Conservation continues to erect electric fences on the pretext that they do not have sufficient funds to create proper feeding zones for elephants within the electric fence areas, and that the request of the people is for electric fences to be built. Electric fences nearly 400 kilometers long have been erected in the Tabbova and Karwalagasvava areas in the Putlam district, where the human-elephant conflict is intense. As a result of the electric fences erected, elephants now cannot approach the Tabbova reserve, which is their usual feeding grounds. This is because the Department of Wildlife Conservation erected these electric fences not after the elephants who had encroached villages in the area had moved to the Tabbova reserve, but while the elephants were still around the villages itself. Therefore, villagers have to carry out their daily work after giving room to the activities of the elephants. Said in more simple terms, the elephants exercise their power in the villages of Tabbova and Karwalagasvava and surrounding areas during the night and the day. Therefore, there is no purpose in constructing these electric fences. If the aim behind the erection of these fences is to be made a success, the elephants who have encroached the villages need to be driven back to the Tabbova reserve. Even though operations were carried out in the recent past to drive away the elephants, they were abandoned midway due to the lack of vehicles at the Department of Wildlife Conservation. There is no move to redirect the proposal made to provide rented vehicles to the MPs for their official duties to departments like the Wildlife Conservation, whose need is much more essential and complex. Certain activities carried out by the department using the funds allocated for them can be considered as a waste of public money. The lime plant project launched in Muriyakulam Tabbova can be considered as one such wasteful project. This lime plant project, which was launched at a cost of 30 rupees per lime plant and 50 rupees per hole dug, was not in the interest of the lime industry, rather with the expectation that the thorns in the plants will keep the elephants at bay. However, the lime plants were planted not on the boundary of the Tabbova reserve, rather surrounding villages which are nearly 10 kilometers away. Maybe this was a move made in order to ease the maintenance of the lime plant crops. The Department of Wildlife Conservation, which has entered into an agreement with an agrarian society to maintain the lime plants, has estimated a monthly cost of 7,500 rupees for the maintenance of lime crops in a radius of 1 kilometer. It is interesting to note that while elephants roam the forests which are covered with much more stronger and thicker thorns such as Andhara, whether a scientific study was carried out by the department to ascertain whether the elephant would be driven away by the thorns on the lime plant. If so, rather than challenging the decision made by the department, it is prudent to allow the lime plants, which are barely 2 inches in height, to grow further. As much as it is the duty for the department to save human settlements from the elephants, it is also their duty to provide feeding grounds to these pachyderms. Therefore, would it not be worth if the department took measures to cultivate food crops for the elephants within the forest reserves? Minister of Wildlife and Sustainable Development, this is over to you.